Hi everyone, welcome back aboard Hat-Trick. So today I'm going to be looking at one of the other major jobs we're doing on the boat, which is upgrading and sort of modernising all the electrical systems. So we've had a look at what's going on inside, but one of the things we really need is a bit of extra power generation, because although this boat, unlike Salty, has an inboard with a pretty powerful alternator that will charge up the batteries, we obviously don't want to be running the engine all the time unnecessarily. So what I've actually gone and got myself is a wind generator. So I've not gone for anything too crazy. A couple of different reasons for this. So what we've got here is a Rutland 504. It's one of the smallest ones they do. It produces around 5 amps at maximum, which hopefully we never produce that much, because we think it's about 40 knot wind it requires for that, which would be pretty scary. But yeah, a couple of reasons for that. One is we don't need vast amounts of power. We're not running, anything particularly energy hungry. The most probable energy hungry thing on the boat is the fridge. Other thing is that, I'll stick in a shot of a couple of the other ones around here. These things get pretty large and pretty dangerous, to be honest. If you've ever seen one of the bigger ones of these go at full power, they are literally like having a bandsaw floating above your cockpit. And not a bandsaw, circular saw would be a better word. And if you want a bigger boat, or you've got a center cockpit or something like that, and you can kind of stick it right at the back or on top of a gantry where it's kind of reasonably out of the way that you're never going to come into contact with it, then that's kind of, I think you're really okay with it. And obviously they do produce a lot more power, but because we're rear cockpit and it's not a giant boat, this one, my concern is that if I'm mounting it on the back here somewhere, which is what we're going to have a look at in a minute, it's going to be pretty close to us, and all you're going to have to do is sort of walk to the back on top of the seats here, get your head in the wrong place, and you really could do yourself a lot of damage with one of them. And I don't think it's a concern that should be underestimated. So I didn't want to go for anything too crazy. I didn't want to go for some like meter wide sort of propeller like just here. So we've gone for the smallest one there, and I think it'll give us enough power for what we need. So if we do a little bit of an unboxing, obviously I've already opened it up and had a look. We'll see what's in here with it. So I went for basically the full kit. So it came with the regulator, just a little silver box. Good thing about this one, which if you look at the electrical video I did, I've talked about this already, is this will also take solar panels. So if in the future we do get some solar panels on the boat, that will mean that they can go straight into that. We don't need another regulator, which is quite nice. Right, yeah, so it comes pretty well packaged. It's still not tiny. I mean, it's still a relatively decent bit of kit, and it's certainly got a bit of heft to it as well. So yeah, that's the main unit. So not giant. Hold it up, we can start generating some power already. It's obviously got this protection wing on the outside of it, so you're also less likely to just hit yourself into it. Comes with a nose cone, which I assume goes on that side to make it a little bit more aerodynamic. And obviously it also comes with a little tail, which goes on, not like that I'd imagine, it goes on like that. Which then obviously directs it into the right orientation for the wind. So along with the full kit, it also comes with the mounting kit, which is also pretty substantial. You've got basically, you've got 2 stainless steel tubes, which means it will lift it quite far up out of the way. And I know that, maybe I'm being a little bit overcautious with what I was saying about the more substantial wind generators. All that is in there. Because they are lifted quite high up out of the way. But I don't know, like I say, if you've ever seen one running on a really windy day, they're pretty fearsome, and not the kind of thing you'd want to put a part of your body into. We've got these 2 deck mounting brackets, which hopefully I'm going to find somewhere on the back there to go. All the fittings are shoved in the end of the tube here. Fair few bolts. So what I want to do today, obviously I'm not going to be fitting it today, but hopefully if all goes well, I'll save this video until we do get to the fitting, but I just wanted to show you the initial sort of looking at it. One of the things that also about this kit, which I didn't actually realise about beforehand, is it doesn't come with any stays. You get the sort of main vertical pole, but realistically I think it's going to have to be supported with more than that. It does come with these little tabs that mount onto the poles that you can mount, I'm guessing either wire stays, but I think I'm probably going to try and go for some solid stainless steel stays, because I think that that'll just be more sensible, given that, you know, these things will take a little bit of force if it gets quite windy. Right, so in here, if I can get it out, because last time I did this, oh, there we go. This is your joiner. So we're just going to slide that back in and line it up with the hole. There we are. And I've not actually looked at the instructions in true man fashion, but I'm going to guess that these two, not unsubstantial, but slightly smaller ones will go into here. By the looks of it, this blue joiner is threaded all the way through. I'm assuming there's washers and things like this, but I'm just test fitting this, so we're just gonna pop it in to start off with, because I just want to get a rough idea of where it's going to mount, and from that I can work out what stays I'm going to need and how long they're going to need to be. Okay, so in true, this is why you read the manual fashion. These long bolts aren't for the joiners. There's actually two smaller ones in here. These are slightly different threads. So if we find there's these couple of nice little rounded stainless steel bolts. So we're just going to finger tight all of this so that it at least stays together until we get a bit closer. Okay, so this is the full height of it. So we now need to decide roughly where this is going to go. Now, it's got this bracket on here for an outboard, which just notice how loose that is, so I guess that's going to have to come off. We do have a new electric trolling motor for the dinghy, which I was kind of hoping would fit on there, but it might not be the case now. So what we might end up doing, I'm guessing it's going to go somewhere like that, would probably be pretty reasonable. And then what I'm thinking is that it will be guyed down to here, maybe. Out of the way, box. The problem we've got is, if I grab the camera I can show you. So it can't really mount out on the end here because as you can see, there's not really much room for it to go. It's going to have to sit somewhere up on this section here, I think. It's going to have to fit somewhere up on this section here, which is the most obvious place. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fit the feet to it, and then we're going to just see where it might roughly sit. So here's kind of a random thing. It's actually come with the wrong nut. At least I'm assuming it has, because, before I lose that, there's only two other nuts in the bag that come with it, which are for the other ones, and that's the only one with it, so that's kind of a bit annoying. I don't think I've got that size nut in my kit. I don't think I've got one of those, but not the end of the world. I can get a nut pretty easily. It just means it's going to be a bit awkward here to test it. So, kind of awkward because it's slightly too wide to actually fit onto there. And if I put it this way, it's no particular better. I think what I'm going to have to do, I may end up having to build up a little fiberglass platform on the back here to just give that somewhere for it to sit, but I think that's probably where it's going to end up going. I don't think it could really go anywhere else. So on a fittingly windy day, it's about time we made some progress and got this thing installed. So having figured it all out and gone away and had to think about it, I've decided that it is going to mount here, and the way it's going to work is this is going to sit mounted onto here. It'll be clamped here by some way that I haven't quite figured out, so it'll probably be cable ties to start off with. There will also be a diagonal support which will come down either to this edge or down to this edge, which will create a bit of a triangle and give it a lot of strength. But the problem is, as I sort of noticed when I was figuring it out, is the ledge at the back here is not quite wide enough to accommodate it. There's this little like dip on the back here, so what I'm going to have to do is use some of my very rudimentary fiberglassing skills just to build up this back edge and create a little bit of a platform that this can then screw into. I think it's going to be, you know, it's not going to have to be super strong. I mean, it wants to be strong, obviously, but obviously with it fixed here, you know, the weight going back onto here and with that triangle, I think it'll be strong enough. It's not a giant wind turbine, so it should be okay, but it is going to need something to get a bit more purchase into it. So let's get some gloves on and see if we can't do some fiberglassing. Okay, now the pad is made, next step is to install the brackets on the bottom, get the pole in, test fit it, figure out the support, and yeah, I think we're actually getting pretty close to this thing being up. So I think we are about done with the wind turbine. As you can see, it is up here behind me, and there's a little bit of wind picking up because there's about to be a bit of a downpour and a storm. So I'm going to try and do a quick test with this while we've got a bit of wind and before it starts to pour it down. So I'm going to undo the rope that I've got locking it off, which should then release it to be free to spin. Kind of in a bit of a dip here, which is not ideal for it, but I'm hoping if it gets a gust. Oh, oh, oh. I'm a little bit worried about the old cable tie connection here. Like I say, I've ordered some clamps for it, but they're not here yet, so I'm not going to let it run when I'm not here. Yeah, that's spinning and no vibration, which is good. I was worried it might be a bit noisy, but right, anyway, let's go down below and see if it's generating any power. So, inclusive at the moment, as you can see, it is actually, hopefully you can see. Wow, it's really weird. It's spinning really fast, but it looks really slow because of the shutter speed of the GoPro. But yeah, I can't actually see the blades, but when I look at the screen I can. And looking at the regulator, oh, yes, the green light came on, perfect timing. Green light means it's charging, and I'm on 12.7 on that, which I think if I just stop it from charging the battery, it probably won't go down at all because it's not a very powerful turbine, shall we say. And it's slowed down anyway now, but the green light did come on, and yeah, so I'm going to call that a success because, you know, we all know green lights mean success. So yeah, so that's been a short little video there just to look at the process I went through to install it. Hopefully, like I say, once we're out sailing later this year, That's going to be able to allow us to stay off grid a bit. I think, say, it doesn't generate massive amounts of power, but it's probably enough to counteract the fridge, and I'm kind of happy with that. I don't want some giant deaf turbine hanging above my head. I've already got to get used to the staying out of the way of the boom that's over the cockpit in this one, which it wasn't in Salty. Anyway, right, I'm going to leave it there. So thanks so much for stopping by. I hope you enjoyed this little look at a wind turbine installation. And yeah, if you did, like, subscribe and all that, and I'll see you in the next video.